So I've dragged you here, Steve, because as you know, I bought this Honda MSX125.
Yeah.
So I bought it after seeing Richard Niven, who uses to explore in the Cairngorms. I thought that was cool. Really, a bike you can really enjoy. And I'm rubbish off-road, so something little, I can just mess around exploring green lanes. Also, Rally Raid, I found out we're making spoke wheels, so that gave me the idea of thinking, I could make an Africa Twin replica. And just testing one, I just thought it was really good fun. I know it's ridiculous, and everybody's going to take the mick out of me, but it's cool. That's what you want, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But I've also been writing a load of insurance features.
Yeah.
So one of them involved going to Fourth Dimension, which is a claims repair specialist, which doesn't sound on paper like the kind of place you think they're going to do an amazing paint job.
No, I've been there. It's brilliant.
That's true. Okay, well, I'll show you what they've done.
Yeah.
And then you can tell us what you think. And yeah. So it's the first time you've seen it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah, genuinely. Wow. Oh.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
When I don't know if you remember, I think we worked together before, years ago, when I had a CBR painted. And it was a good paint job, but it was really bad graphics. So I always get this fear when I go and pick up a bike. I was like, what if it's not right?
That's really nice.
Yeah. And look, they've even painted the engine casings.
Oh, yeah.
It's proper. So the Africa Grom logo, it's the original Africa Twin logo. I cut off the Twin.
Yeah.
And drew Grom in the style of the Twin. So and the CRF 125L, I got the CRF 250 logo and changed it to be a 125. So it's but I'm just, like this blue is just such a beautiful. Obviously, the idea is it matches an Africa Twin colour.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome.
They've done a really nice. So how long does it take them to do a job like that? What's involved?
It's about, they reckon it was about 2 days, this.
Yeah.
But that's 2 days solid. It actually took weeks, because Fourth Dimension don't typically take commissions. They're an insurance repairer, but they have to be able to match anything, absolutely anything. So I hadn't thought about this before, because you kind of think, well, they're just blowing in some panels, isn't it? But for a start, they have to be able to fix a custom paint job. So if you insure your bike, so this is insured as a custom paint job. But if anything happens to this, it's got to, exactly, it's got to go somewhere where somebody can do it. Somebody might have had a custom paint job done, and it could be some flames, or it could be a naked woman lying across the tank. They have to be able to do everything.
Yeah.
The work they're doing is they had to fit this in around it. So when they do take a commission, they only do it when the person who wants the work doing genuinely understands it's going to take a long time, because it's got to fit in around the insurance work.
Because everything works, the insurance works bread and butter, isn't it? That's the stuff.
Exactly. And there'll be a lot of unhappy people. You think somebody who really, they're in a difficult position because it's one of those not the ideal way to meet a customer, because generally the first time they meet the customers or speak to customers, the person's pretty pissed off.
Yeah.
Somebody's just knocked their bike over. Yeah. Something's happened.
Yeah, their bike's upside down in a hedge.
Yeah. And so they're not in a good frame of mind. So obviously when it comes back, they're happy. Yeah. But yeah, what they don't want to do is upset somebody going, we haven't finished your bike yet because we're doing John's Africa Grom. So stuff like that fits in. Yeah. But two other people who are nearly as well known as me who have had their work done there is David Beckham and Tom Cruise.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to 4D, and they are, the whole setup there is impressive. And it's the way they do the whole thing from how they assess the bike to how they get it through to the finished article. Your bike comes back and it looks perfect.
Yeah. This sounds like an advertorial for Fourth Dimension, doesn't it? But genuinely, I was blown away. And you kind of think, but still, all they're doing is they're painting panels. When you paint a car panel, this is more stuff I've learned. I love this geeky stuff. When you paint a car panel, it's got a huge surface area, obviously, and it's typically one colour, and there's generally not graphics on it either. But you paint the panel, and then what a paint shop will typically do is bleed across to the adjacent panels and just feather the colour in. Doesn't mean they're like, it'll be fine, but they don't have to be 100% accurate, 99.5% accurate. Yeah. But a typical colour is made up of between 5 and 10 tints, and 0.1 of a gram can totally change that colour. In the car world, because there are hundreds of car body shops in each, around this country, let alone all the other countries, it's worth the paint manufacturers making proper swatch books. Yeah. So you can look up the code for Vauxhall Astra and go, right, it's this paint code, right, it's this mix, and it'll be near as damn it right.
Yeah.
There are some swatches for bikes, and if you look at some Hondas, it will say it's paint code so-and-so. But when you look at the books, they're nothing like it, which is partly because there's not the investment going into making them, but also because when bikes are painted, they'll mix up a big vat of, say, Kawasaki green, then that batch of bikes will be painted. Then they'll mix up another big batch of Kawasaki green, and those bikes will be painted. So they're sometimes fractionally out. Also, a lot of bike paints are pearls, and they have what's called a flop agent in. So depending on how you look at it, depends on how it looks. Not like flip like that old Nissan that Jason had that went purple to green. But they'll change. But then it depends how you lay that paint down on the bike.
Yeah.
So all those things add up to making it really hard to paint it. Then you've got the different plastics and metals that you put on. Then you've got whether it's matte finish or a gloss finish. So it's really hard to match it. And then you've got fade. So bike paint is often just one lacquer at the top, OE bike paint.
Yeah.
Can tend to fade. So it's edge-to-edge painting that Fourth Dimension are doing. So they have to be able to do a panel, say this panel, and that panel. If this was an OE bike, they might paint that panel. Or let's say they paint this middle panel because there's no graphics on that, but they wouldn't want to paint this one because there's graphics on it.
Yeah.
Because that's going to cause a lot more expense. So they'll paint that panel, but that panel's got to match that panel exactly, regardless of how old that panel is. Yeah. Although there might be times when they do paint the entire bike.
So if I crash my 15-year-old Phaser,
yes,
and they had to fix it, would they spray the whole thing, or would they spray just the damaged bits to match the rest of it?
Your bike doesn't look it looks pretty good, doesn't it? I mean, when I say when they've had to do a whole bike, it's when you're like, well, that bike's gone pink.
Okay.
But they'd match it, and you would genuinely can't tell. So that thing with the flop as well. While I was there was a Sprint ST, really badly damaged panels, and that was getting ready. That was being assessed at the time. Then that's going to be repainted. The panels so they'll get a panel, but even if you buy a new panel in, unless it's a brand new bike, the chances are, even if it's a pre-painted panel, it won't match.
It won't fit the rest
exactly,
of it.
yeah. So it could have come from Triumph, but it might not match how that person's bike has gone. So the skill in being able to do that means that this, as a custom paint job, is actually kind of easy. You know, they're not having to match to something.
Yeah,
they're
doing everything at once.
Yeah, exactly. They've matched the Honda Africa Twin paint, but they haven't had to worry about getting it on it. But it's still amazing, and it's things like these the key lines they've put in are absolutely flawless. They're in exactly the right place because I'm like, I'm really anal.
No, yeah. And I remember seeing, I think when you first got this, I remember seeing some picture you'd done where you layer it all up with masking tape or something.
That's it. Yeah. So I mocked it all up with insulation tape, and then and I did. Well, first I sketched it. I printed it out, sketched them all out, and then laid it all up with insulation tape. I had loads of goes. I was like, yeah, that's it.
So if it had been me, because I wouldn't have done that, I would have just given him a photo of an Africa Twin and said, make it look like that.
Yeah.
If that had been me, did the fact you did that make this? Is that what makes this so good? If I'd have sent him my photo, would it have looked anything like this?
I'd love to say yes, but to be honest, it would be down to each person's interpretation. I'm really anal, and I'm like, I know what I want, and I want it to look like that. So that was why I was nervous when I went, because I thought, I know what I want. But still, they added things to it. So it was like when it went in, I'd left this middle panel black, and they phoned up saying, do you fancy having that blue? Because we think it would look better. And at first I was like, no, I know what I want. And I thought about it, I was like, no, I think they're right. I was like, yeah, okay, do it. And then they said, what about painting the engine casings? We think it would help with that. Yeah, all right. So they're far more experienced. It's like getting leathers done. Remember when we had some RST leathers made? Everyone's like, yeah, I want exactly this. It's like, I like these colours. I'm no fashion designer. I used to be a magazine designer, not a fashion designer. I have no idea. It makes it look cool. So I, to be honest, I think if I'd taken this there and said, here's the Africa Twin, because I didn't want the latest Africa Twin paint scheme. I wanted the model. So the modern one, but they've just tweaked the colours for 2018. I wanted the 2016, 2017 paint scheme. If I'd have given them that picture, their interpretation could have been better than this. And in fact, I don't want to ask them, because if it was, if they sketched out and did something better, then
I've got limited experience. I've only ever had one bike painted, and I did just give them a kind of hand-drawn sketch. And what came back was a much better representation of my sketch than I was expecting. But what was interesting is the quality of the work. Looking at this is a step above that. And the guys that did my job they're a really good company, a really reputable company. I would have quite happily recommended them to anybody. But looking at that,
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and the difference is it's this. It's the
Yeah.
It's just it's really, really nice detail.
So these are
the way those key lines are done.
Yeah, it's the key lines, I think. So this is a vinyl graphic. And it could be painted, but because of the way it's going to have suede lines, it made it really complicated. And I'd always said, I actually like vinyl that's lacquered over. I like the feel of it. But I know I've worked with another guy. The guy who did my XStar 700, Chris Tunbridge, did a beautiful job of that. And he paints all the logos, which is awesome. But on this one, I was like, no, I like it. But you said about how long did it take? I had to write this down because there were 16 stages to this paint, and apparently that's totally normal. Yeah. So the apart from this centre panel was plain plastic. That had to have obviously a primer on it. Yeah. But the rest of it was already painted with what I thought was great paint. But they're like, no, it's not good enough quality, and it's not bright enough white. We want a bright white on it. But because it was already painted, they keyed that first, so they didn't have to go back to bare plastic and reprime. Yeah. Keyed it, and because also. The bike
when you say keyed it, it's
it's like fine sanding.
Yeah.
Just gives it something for the paint to bite into rather than a smooth surface. And it had only done 160 miles, although it had been jumped and wheelied and it hadn't been dropped. I think there was one scuff on the mudguard, so they filled that and repaired that. So it was keyed, which is a fine sanding. Then a 2-stage base coat, which was a white base with a silver Zeralic. Now Zeralic is an tiny aluminium oxide particles coated in titanium oxide to give it like a sparkle. Yeah. And if you look, that's what just gives it that fine, really fine. Yeah. It's cool, isn't it? But not in the red, because the red is a flat red. Yeah. It's meant to be a flat red. Yeah. So then it was lacquered, then it was baked, then it was flattened again, then it was masked for the blue, then the blue was painted, then it was lacquered, then it was baked, then it was flattened again, then it was masked for the red, then the red was painted, then it was lacquered, then they put the vinyl graphics on, then it was flattened again, and then it was lacquered. And that was then several coats of lacquer on the top again. It was a massive amount of work. And I think because that's not, I mean, obviously there are 3 colours on this, but it's still not unusual. And that was one of the points they said is, again, painting a car, you're typically painting one colour. You're not worrying about graphics, which have either got to be taken off or reapplied. And then think about if the graphics aren't available anymore. Yeah. So that's where they'll have to have graphics made, so they can do that. So look at an MT10. It's got gloss and matte finishes on the bodywork. The bodywork is a different colour to the frame, and the wheels are different colour again. So you've got 3 different colours and different final finishes. So every bike is effectively, to a car sprayer, it would effectively be a custom job. So they've got 3 full-size walk-in booth ovens that they spray in. So, you see them in cars there. 3 of them. And then an airbrush area, a booth and oven as well. Yeah. What really struck me, though, was that everybody I spoke to, so there's the assessment area, so there's a really big area where they check every bit of damage that's happened to a bike, work out what they're going to do to it, and also measure it where necessary. Then the bikes are put into individual bays with all the parts as they come in until all the parts are in. Yeah. Then it goes to the mechanics where it's worked on, and if the stuff needs painting, it goes to the paint bay. It's just huge. But everybody I spoke to is genuinely a biker. I know loads of people go, we're all bikers. Yeah. But I was there over winter, and it was still full of bikes. Yeah,
the first time I went, I made the mistake of when we went in there, and there's loads and loads of bikes outside. Yeah. And first bloke I was talking to, I was saying, most of those bikes outside don't look that badly damaged. Wrong move. They're all very insulted, very upset.
Because they were their bikes.
Yeah, and I turned up on my brand new lovely test bike, which just made it even worse.
Yeah. But it is, isn't it?
And the whole place, they live and breathe bikes, and you can see it, and you can. Yeah, sorry, we sound like an avatar.
I know. I was just thinking that it's genuine. I was really excited, and I think obviously this is my bike. It's insured as a custom bike. I've got a KTM 1050 Adventure as well. But genuinely, after being there, I always thought, no, I know the people who do. If something happened, I'd either I would do what I could, but I think no, it's got to go here or here or here. Genuinely, after being there, if something happened to one of my bikes, I would genuinely ask my insurance company to send it there. Yeah. Because it was amazing, and they're so passionate about it. Yeah. Now I'm going to take it on the off-road.
Destroy it.
No, I'm not going to destroy it. I've got the RG crash protector, and also these are new Kriego RS12 packs.
Yeah, they're pretty nice, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I built the luggage racks for it. But they'll also protect it a little bit when it goes, if it gets dropped, and I've got the crash protection. But we're doing this. 12 customers are going to go. We're going Green Lane in Wales with Nathan Millward. So I'm taking this. I'm not going to be the only one. There's another customer there who's taken a MSX, one of the older models. So I didn't show you the other cool thing. These badges. So there was originally a Honda wing on here, but the higher end Hondas have those 3D badges. I've got to have that, and that's actually they do plastic repair and everything at Fourth Dimension. It's not a case of they'll go, oh, we'll repair that. You might not be able to get the panels for a bike anymore, or they might not be available, or it might even be a lower value bike. Can you imagine if it gets severely crashed? There's obviously a limit where it becomes a write-off. So if that's the case, they'll contact the customer and go, look, if we put a new panel on here, it's gonna. If your insurer says it's going to write it off. If we fix it, we can keep it within that. But obviously when it's fixed, you can't tell. And they actually guarantee all their work in that if you don't like any of it, they'll just do it again, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. But yeah, those badges, they had to modify those panels with plastic welding to try and get those badges into the right place. But it's cool. I'm just so chuffed with it.